If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. Last week, I put out a video on Laravel translations where we were leveraging the built-in translation system through Laravel for blade files and translating strings. I asked you guys if you wanted to see this using Vue, as I'm working on it currently in my website. And while it's fresh in my mind, I just thought that you guys might want to see it. Now, some of you guys may have seen that last video. Some of you may not want to watch it. It's not relevant to what you're doing. You just want to see Vue. I'm going to treat this video as a standalone video where I try to also answer some of the questions that were asked on that previous video and try to fill in some of the blanks if I can. If you go to the Laravel documentation and you do a quick search for localization, it'll take you to this page right here where it just pretty much explains how to do it. There are a couple of ways to do it. You can have a lang folder with en and then messages.php, and this is a folder within the English folder. And you can do the same thing with ES. These are just translating the strings in these files. It is not translating anything from the database. It's not translating specific things. It's only translating strings. So wherever you have strings, that's where these are going to be translated. We are going to take a look at that in a bit. But for now, just keep that in mind. The second way that you can do this is to create JSON files and just title them with whatever the language is. So for English, it's EN. For Spanish, it's ES, and then .json. And then you just have a long list of strings that have been translated for your project. Because Laravel 10 does not have the language files, we do need to publish these. So let's go ahead and take a look at the code. And I'm first going to show you what we're working with so that we're all on the same page. In the project, if we go ahead and take a look at the composer.json, I am using Laravel Framework 10.10. I have already installed the setup for Inertia. So I have Laravel Jetstream Sanctum that's going to handle our authentication because we're going to be looking at the register page and translating that first. The other thing that I have is Laravel Sail, and that's what I'm using for my development environment. The other thing is in the package.json, we're using Tailwind, we're using Vite, we're using the Laravel Vite plugin and Vue. All of that is included. If you're just doing a project with Laravel and Vue and not using Inertia, then the process is essentially the same. We're going to take a look through the docs and go through it. Let's go ahead and publish our lang files. In the old versions of Laravel, they used to be in the resources folder and it came in the project when Laravel was shipped. Now we do have to publish it on our own. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to open up the terminal. I'm going to clear that. And then to publish it, for me, I'm going to do sail, artisan, lang, publish. All right. If we take a look here, now we have a lang folder. We have an auth file. And this auth file is for when you have translations for your authentication. So if your credentials don't match, if your password don't match, this is what's being displayed in the error fields within the front end. For the pagination, if you're doing left-right buttons, these are the translations for that, and that's pretty much all that that is. In the passwords file, this is for if your password has been reset, anything involving the password and authentication with the password, that's where these are coming from. And validation is a long list of all the potential validation strings that come with the default shipment of Laravel, all the way down to the bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to do this in English, we're going to do it in Spanish, and we're also going to do it in Arabic. Keep in mind, I don't speak any of these other languages other than English, so I'm going to have English versions, and then we're going to translate them together. Now, to get us started, I am going to take this EN folder. This is a list of all the English translations, and then I'm going to copy it. Well, I'll duplicate it. And this folder, we're going to start with Spanish. So I'm just going to call it ES because that's the language code for Spanish. Close that. And here it is. So everything is pretty much the same thing that it was in English because we haven't touched it yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to go to Google Translate. This is what I use for translations. I don't speak any of these languages, as I said, so this is the closest that I can get to having translations. We'll go ahead and paste that in there. If you speak these languages and you're able to translate them on your own, then to me, that's a lot better than using Google Translate because it's really just an AI and it's based on what's accepted for these translations in general. Since we're doing Spanish, I'm going to go to the Spanish tab first, and then I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to come back to the auth file, and then I'm just going to go ahead and paste it. The most important thing to remember with these translations is that the first key always has to be in English, and then the value will be in whatever the language is. In this case, password is now a different word. So we do need to paste that in there. And now we have failed, password, and throttle, and we have the English versions of these. So I'm going to go ahead, do the rest of them, and then I'll come back. We've already done the auth file together, and then we have the pagination. So we have previous and next. Passwords, we also have the translations for these, and in the validation, I have done everything in the validation file. And if we go down to the bottom, I didn't change these because we don't have a custom attribute name or role name or anything like that. And we don't have any custom attributes either. So I didn't touch those at all. Now, in order to see these, let's go to the register page. In Laravel blade files, we had some translation strings throughout this file, and obviously we don't have that. So what we need to do is bring in a package that will translate this for us. I have done a search for a Vue package, and this is the one that I've been using from my website. It's worked out pretty well, and it's super easy to set up. I think it's XI. I don't know how to pronounce that, if it's a thing to pronounce, but there it is. I'll leave a link for this in the description as well for you, so you can check it out on your own time. Again, this isn't a package to put translations in the database. It has zero responsibilities when it comes to the database. This is just changing translations within the project itself. So it's only translating strings. It's not translating input. It's not translating anything that, let's say you have an admin panel and there's a button that you want to put, or a tag or a category or anything like that. Anything that's input from the database is not going to get translated in this way. This is just to translate static strings. What we can do is we can install it. I'm going to be using npm, so I'll copy that. And I'll open up the terminal, and then I'll do sail, and then I'll paste that in, and we'll go ahead and install it. While that's doing that, let's continue on. So if we go down, there's also a screencast on it. I didn't know there's a video. It might be a YouTube video. You guys can watch that as well if you want, but here we are. So there are instructions to use this with Vite, which is exactly what we need. And basically in our app.js, we have to put this, and then we have to import it. Because we're also using Inertia, we don't have to do it this way. We can do it in this way. Just to copy this, I'm going to go to the app.js. I can get rid of this. And right under the Ziggy view, I'll go ahead and just paste this in. If you want to set a default language, you can. You don't actually have to, but if you want to, you can. And what this is basically doing is it's creating a variable, a const variable, and then it's going to be globally importing the meta from the lang folder that we have. And it will also be able to grab the JSON files, and it will compile them and make them into files that we can use for Vue. So let's also go ahead and import this as well before I forget. Go ahead and grab it from up here. And I'll just drop it right here. Then we can go down a bit, and we have to set this up in our Vite configuration file where we import this. And we are going to use the i18n. Now, if you're using below 9, where you have the resources lang folder, like I was mentioning before, then you can do this like that so that it can find those files. But if not, and you're using Laravel 9 and above, then you can just do this. I'll go down to the bottom, and under plugins here, I'll go ahead and paste that in there. Actually, no. This needs to be imported up top. And then now under plugins, I'll just do that with some parentheses. Actually, it should be under the view under here. That's all good to go. And back in the docs, if we go down a bit, you can see if you have them in additional paths, you can add them to this Vite configuration file. And this is if you're going to be using it with Laravel Mix or Webpack or what have you. The thing that I like about this package is that it also brings in the Laravel translations like we have just set up with the PHP files. These will also pull in those translation files. And this is how we'll be using it in the Vue file. So it's a $T instead of underscore like we had it with Blade, and then you would just input whatever the value is. Now there's a bunch of different things that you can do as well. You can use trans message, all of that good stuff. I will leave this documentation for you to take a look at. We're not dealing with any of these things here. We're just doing a very basic, simple string translation. To test out that our Spanish translations are working, I'm going to go to the app config. And then if you scroll down a bit, You'll see the locale, and the locale is currently in English, EN. There's also a fallback locale. You can add that as well. So if one language isn't available, then you'll have another one. Right now, our default is English, so we'll just leave it like that. But since we have the Spanish translations, I'll go ahead and do ES so that when we do make changes, we should be able to see them. Let's go into the register file and start working on these. Now, we don't actually have any translations for these yet because we just dealt with basic validation and stuff like that. So these things are not in any translation files. So we don't have register, we don't have name, we don't have any of that. Let's go ahead and handle that before we continue to fill this stuff out. I just want to go to the lang folder, en. And how we're going to do this is we're going to create a folder to show our PHP translations, and we'll use that for the register page. And then we will tackle the dashboard and add an additional page, and we will use JSON files for that. What I want to do is I want to create a folder, and I'm going to call it pages. Pages isn't a mandatory thing. If you wanted to create all your language files like it is here, you're more than welcome to do that. This is something that I do in order to separate what things are for. The register, the login page, and all of those authentication pages, the inputs are relatively the same. You'll have the email, you'll have the name, password, etc. So what I like to do is I create a file, and I'm going to call this one authentication. And we'll say .php. And this is so that we don't confuse it with this auth file right here. So because it's a PHP file, we need to add PHP up here and then return, and we'll open up an array. Why don't we go ahead and grab those fields that we need to translate and add them to this file. In here, we're going to need register. We're going to need name. We're going to need email, password, confirm password. And we're not actually using terms or anything, so I'm just going to copy these for now. I'm going to paste them in there. And then we can actually just get rid of this since we're not using it. And then we can grab the already registered from here as well. So for PHP, we're going to have to create this in a way that it could be read by PHP. So we'll just put some closing brackets on here. And then we'll need an arrow, and then we'll open up some quotations again, and we'll just paste that in. Make sure to have commas at the end of all of them. And there we go. So we have the English translations for this. So let's go and do this for Spanish as well. I'm just going to copy this folder, and I'll paste it in our ES folder so that we have the exact same thing. Let's go and translate this. Go ahead and grab it. Then here we'll go ahead and just paste it in. Now remember I said the first key has to be in English. Copy that, and then we'll highlight these. Actually, I'll just do this a little bit easier for us. Paste it in, and now we can get rid of this. So now we can add the translation strings to those fields. Let's go all the way up to the top, and we can actually start doing this with the header. So for the title, we'll do colon, and then here we'll do $T parentheses. And now because we have it in a folder, we'll do pages authentication dot register. So we should now be able to see the Spanish version in the title of the page. Go to the register page, and as you can see, the title is now in Spanish. Great, so let's do the rest of the fields. I am going to just go ahead and copy these. Okay, so this one will be name. We need the colon. And we'll go down and do the same for email. Same for password. Confirm password. Do it like that. This one we need some curly brackets. And we can put already registered. This one will just be register. Okay, let's check the browser. Okay, look at that. It's been translated, but we need to fix this because registered isn't capitalized here. It is registered. There we go. Looks good. Why don't we go ahead and add our Arabic translations as well now while we have this? We'll go up to the translations and copy this one, AR for Arabic. And then I'm going to translate these and then I'll come back and you can see it. Great. So I've already done it. I have done all of the Arabic translations that we should have for this authentication page. I want to go to the app and then I want to change this to AR and let's go and check the browser and see if we can see it in Arabic now. Okay, look at that. We have everything in Arabic. Arabic is an RTL language. It is right to left. What we want to do is we want to make sure that our text here is right to left. So the easiest way to do that is with some CSS. So let's go ahead and work on that and then try to get this to display from right to left. So here we can go to the app.css file, and this is where our Tailwind stuff is being displayed. For us, since we are going to be doing it for all of the Arabic translations within the entire project, we can hit the HTML tag. I'll show you where that is coming from in a minute. With the HTML tag that we have, there's a language property on it. And for this, we're going to put in AR for Arabic. And then we're going to use star. And then we're just going to text the line. Right. Any of the right to left languages you can chain on in here. So Arabic is one, Hebrew is another one. I think it's HE. Whatever languages that you're using that is also right to left, you can chain them on in here. Now this is all coming from the app.blade.php. All the way at the top, you see the HTML tag, the element here. There's a language property on it, and it's replacing the string. It's app get locale. And this is what we are targeting to make sure that all of our RTL languages that we're going to be using, which for us is Arabic, is displayed right to left. In the browser, you can see it is now right to left. So we're all good to go there. Now, something that we can also do now is try our validation. So I'm going to close these. And in the register page, I'm going to remove all of the required so that we can see it. Let's try to see if we can see our Arabic translations. Okay, we'll go ahead and just try to click register. And I believe these are Arabic. Somebody let me know to make sure that this is the correct translation for them. But we have successfully changed our validation, all that good stuff for our register page. I'm not going to do the other authentication pages. I've shown you how to do one, go forth and multiply. Fine, let's go ahead and register. And now we are on the dashboard page. So I'm going to get rid of this little thing so we can do some work in here. Now, before I get into the dashboard, something that I want to take a look at is, close this. If we go to the lang folder here, you see we have some JSON files. Now, what's happening is the package that we're using for this, the Laravel View translation package that we're using, what it's doing is it is creating this file and it is minimizing it for us. So while we're working on it, this will be here. If you put it into production, you just do, if you're using Vite, you'll just do npm run build, you'll build it and it'll be part of the languages for your deployed project. This is something to take note of. Just be aware if you see it pop up while you're developing, that's all that it is. It's coming from that package and it is labeled PHP with the _AR.json. What we're going to do is for the dashboard page, we are going to use JSON files to translate this so that I can show you how to use JSON files with this package in Vue. Right, so we'll go ahead, open this up, and I'm just going to get rid of this. And for our purposes, I'm just going to put your logged in, just to keep it simple. Okay, and that's what we have here. And as you can see, it's right to left, but it's not translated yet. Let's switch it to English so that I can understand what's going on, and then we'll continue on. So I'm going to open up the app config again, just so that I can switch this to English. And then the first one that I'm going to do is in the language folder here. I'm going to create a file, and I'm going to call it en.json. And I'm going to open up some curly brackets since it is a JSON file. And the first one I'll put is dashboard. That's what we're getting from here. We're also going to use this one, bring it over, and I'll just put a comma here for right now. Basically, what I want to do is I want to copy this, and instead of using arrows, we're going to use a colon, quotations, paste that in, and then we'll do the same thing for this one. Let's do the same thing for Arabic and the same thing for Spanish so that we can have these translations on our page. We'll do ES for Spanish, and then AR for Arabic. Let's go ahead and copy this one. And then we'll go ahead and just paste that in and translate it. We'll start with the Arabic one. Go ahead, paste it in here. And then just something to be aware of, other languages have different types of punctuation. Sometimes that happens with the Google Translate. So you just want to go ahead and change that there. And then the first one, as I said, it has to be in English. So we'll grab that one. Take this one, and I'm using shift and the right arrow to be able to highlight this because with RTL, it's a little tricky to navigate with the US keyboard layout. So I'll go ahead, copy this one. And then here I'll start at the beginning, press shift, and then press the right arrow until the whole thing's selected. Go ahead and paste that. And we can go ahead and get rid of this. So now we have this in Arabic. Let's also do it for Spanish. Paste it here, please. Get rid of this one. And then let's add the translation strings to the dashboard. So here, really easy, curly brackets, parentheses. And on the outside of this, it's a $T. And then this will now be in single quotes. Now, keep in mind, because the JSON files that we're using to translate for this page are not in folders, you don't have to put pages dot whatever, just use the translation string. Let's do the same thing for this one. I'm going to put single quotes in this YOU, in this U part of this phrase. We're going to put a slash to distinguish that there's an apostrophe in here. Now let's change the language to, let's say, Spanish. So this is dashboard in Spanish, and then you are logged in. That's what this is. And we can also add these to the navigation. We'll do that in a bit, but as you can see, it has been translated. Something to note is that this is left to right. Let's change this to AR. And now it's right to left. Let's continue on. So far, we've only used the Laravel default pages that we have. Let's say we want to create a page, we'll call it posts. Now remember, even though we're going to call it posts, we're not grabbing anything from the database, so we can translate within our files just fine. Let's go ahead, create that route, create that page, and add some text to it. So I'm going to go to the web routes. We can do it super easy in here because we're not using any of this stuff really. So we'll call it route. We'll say get/posts. We'll do function, open this up. We're not creating a model, a migration, none of that. We just want to create the page. So we'll return Inertia, render, posts, say posts index. It's imported up top already. So let's go ahead, create this page. And we can do, let's see, pages. We'll do posts, index.view. Why that's doing that like that. We'll change this, hold on. Rename, just rename this to index. And then we'll create a folder called posts. And then we'll just move it. So let's go ahead and use let's see, let's do it like this. I'm going to copy this one in the index page. And something we can also translate to is the title for the page, for the dashboard, which is something I forgot to do. Go ahead, paste it in from here. Could have been in the dashboard. Here, I'll just do posts. Posts, and get rid of this welcome component because we're not going to be using it. And then instead of logged in here, let's put some text here. So this we can go ahead and get rid of, and we'll deal with this in a moment. Right now, I just want to create a link to this page. So we can go to the navigation, or is it app layout? If we go down to where the nav links are here, just paste it in here. And I also want to add the translation string here. $T dashboard, and that should be good here. I want to do post index, and then dashboard will just be posts. Let me make sure that I added the named route, just because I will forget that. So I'll add it here, name posts index. Let's check the browser. Okay, there it is. Let's go to it. Okay, so as you can see, we have our lorem text here. Now, since we're going to be using the JSON files for these, let's go ahead and add these to those JSON files. So what do we need? We need posts. So let's grab that. Go to the English one first. Posts. And then we have some text here, but it is kind of a long string. And what I want to do is, instead of doing it this, I'm going to copy this, go to the English, and I'm just going to create medium ipsum text, just as a sort of label. And then I'll go ahead and paste that here, which means that now I can grab this, go back to that page, put some curly brackets, $T, and then just paste in that medium ipsum text. So we should still be able to see this. Refresh and make sure, and we're all good. Why don't we go ahead and translate these new things that we have in here? It'll be these two. Put one for Arabic, and then we'll put one for Spanish. Let's go ahead and get these translated. Copy that. This one is Spanish, so I'll go ahead, paste it in here. I'll add posts to this. And then medium ipsum text is the same. We'll just remove that. And let's also grab the Arabic. Paste that in, grab this, move it up. And we also need to make sure that this is a comma. And then this should be good here. So I'll move that up, and now we can get rid of this. And what language am I in? Let's see, app.php. We're in English. Let's try Arabic. Not translated, but that's in the nav layout. That's fine. We'll take care of that in a bit. It's this right here. I'm going to just grab this. Post. And let's also check Spanish. So now we have it in Spanish. Even though we're using Latin, for some reason, it still recognizes the lorem ipsum, the Latin version of it, as English, and it still translates it to Spanish and to Arabic. So that's kind of a nifty little thing that it does. Now what I want to do is I want to create a language switcher so that we can switch from these different languages without having to go back to the config file. I'm going to go ahead and close the index. And for now, I'll close these JSON files just so it's a bit clearer. And then I'm going to put this back in English. So from here on out, we should be working with the language switcher. I'll go ahead and close that. And if we go down, I'm going to get rid of these teams because we're not using them. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab the settings one, and we'll be able to use this to display our dropdown. Here I'm going to call it language switcher dropdown. And let's take a look and make sure that we can see this. You can see that it is right here. So let's move it over to the center a bit, and then let's continue on. Try to do width 1/2. It's not half, that's half. And then justify between. Let's see. Okay, so let's put it a little bit more in the center for us. Great. So now I just want to list out a very bare bones list of languages. Now, because we are using JavaScript, we don't have to reach back into any config files. We don't have to reach back into any API calls, anything like that, in order to just loop over some languages in our switcher. I'm going to get rid of this as we're not using it. And then I'm going to make a const. I'm going to call it items, and I'm going to make it reactive. Then I'm going to say item. And then I'm going to open it up for an array. I also want to bring in that reactive, and that's, oh, it's already up here, reactive. So here we're going to do, we'll just say title. And the title that we're going to have is going to be English. And I also want to make a value. And I want to make a value because we're going to have to talk to the backend in order to change our languages with the language codes. So we'll do EN for English. And then this one will be Spanish. This will be ES, Arabic. And then for Arabic, it'll just be AR. So now we can loop over this in that dropdown. We'll come down to where we are displaying it, which is right here. For now, we'll just keep this. We don't need this image, so we can get rid of that. And instead of VLs, I'm just going to get rid of that here. We'll keep the button so that we can have something just to demonstrate. And instead of the pages props username, I'm just going to say button for right now. We're going to come down. We're going to go down to here. We can get rid of this account management thing here. We're not using any of this. And we don't really need that or that. So what we can do now is loop over those languages. Because I don't have a route yet, I'm going to put hashtag, get rid of that. Now we can do v4, item, index in items. This way we can use the key of item or index. And because we have the language, now I can just do item title. Let's go and check that out. Okay, so we have our little button here, and we're not actually displaying it. Let's take a look. We'll look in the View DevTools just to make sure, just to see if we have it coming through. View. No, it's not in the index, it's in the app layout. This up. And we have item. Ah, okay. Well, we're getting the array, but it's items.item. So when we're looping over this, instead of items, it is items.item. So now we have our language titles in here. Great. Now, in order for us to trigger some type of event where we click on one of those language titles and we send it back to a route in order to return to us whatever the correct translation is, right? So if we're on English and we click Spanish, we want to go to the Spanish translations. If we want to click the Arabic, we'll go to the Arabic translations. How this is done in Laravel is by using routes. In the Laravel documentation, if you go down a bit, you can see that there is a way to configure the locale using the route. We'll need a link to get to a route. And instead of doing it like it is here with an array, English, Spanish, French, or what have you, we're going to be using middleware in order to tap into this. Now, someone asked me if you could use sort of like a greeting/en, which is what I think they're trying to do in this instance. I haven't used that. I can't tell you for sure if whatever the route is, so let's say it's the register route, so it'll be locale/register, what have you. I can't tell you that register is going to be translated in whatever language that you have, and I haven't tried to use en within the route. I don't know that. That's something that you will have to look up. We are not going to be doing it that way. We are just going to set it up so that when we click the language, the translations are going to be displayed on the page. So let's go ahead and work on the middleware. So I'll open up the terminal. Let me clear this. It's a bit busy. So sail artisan, make middleware, and then I'll call it translations middleware. That has been put into the app HTTP middleware, translations middleware. Go ahead, open that up. And then we are first going to set the locale. So we'll do app, set locale, and we'll set the locale to the config app locale. That's what we've been manipulating this whole video. So we're going to set it to be that value. And then we're going to say if session has locale. And I don't actually think I mentioned this at the beginning of this video, but we're going to be using the session to target our language. So if it has a locale, then we're going to app set locale to the session locale. And then we're going to continue to return to the next request. So we need to register this middleware. We're going to come down to the kernel file here, and we're going to use the middleware groups for the web.php because that's what we're using. If you were also using this in the API, you could do it there as well. But here I'm going to put app http middleware, and then we'll just add the name of our new middleware. Don't forget to add the class. So now we can close out this middleware and this kernel. And in the web route, I'm going to create a new route. I'm going to get, and then this route is going to be language / language function. We're going to be passing in the language. When we click the link on the front end, it's going to come to this route. It's going to insert the language into here, and then we're going to grab it here. That's not how you spell language. Okay, we'll open that up. And now here we can do session, and this is the facade. Put the locale as the language. And then we'll just return redirect. And I also want to name this language so that we have something to point to. So I hope this is clear. When you click the language is going to trigger a call to this route. This route, it's going to grab that language in here, and then we're passing in that language, and we're setting the locale to whatever that language was that we clicked. This is good for now. We don't have to touch this anymore. Let's go over to the app layout and start working on that logic. Now what we can do is come down here. And so now on the title, the drop-down link, so whatever the language that we have the title for, we can create an event. So we'll do @click equals, and I'm just going to call it change locale because that's what we're doing. And then I'm going to pass in the item. Let's go up top and let's work on that. We'll do it under here. Now here we can go ahead and define that. So I'll just do const change locale equals. We'll pass in the item that we just are passing in from that button click or that link click, and we'll do equals, and then we'll open up some curly brackets. Now for now, I just want to see what we're getting. So we'll console log the item. Let's go and check the browser. So now here, well, I'll open up the inspect tool so we can see what we're getting. Go to console. And actually, I'll put it down here for right now, just so we can see what we're getting. Okay, let's say I click Spanish, and nothing's happening. Why isn't anything happening? Well, let's go and check what's going on. Let's go down a bit, and one item title. Oh, this should be clicked. Okay, let's try it again. So now you can see we're getting back the title of Spanish and the value of ES, which means we can use these to both change the language that's on this button, as well as changing the value of the translations. To point to the route that we set up to change this. So let's go ahead and work on that. We'll go up. And now instead of console logging it out, we can do router get route language. And now we can do item value because that's what we're getting from that route. Once this is done, we have to set the language in the session. So we'll do local storage .set item. And then for the lang, we'll also use that item value. And now that also means that the package that we're using, we're going to have to tell it that we've changed the language. And it actually has a nifty little function in here where we can do load. Let me import it first. Do import load language async from Laravel view blah 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 blah. let's come down and we'll also do that in here. Load language async. We'll pass in that item value as well. Okay, let's give this a try and see what happens. Okay, we're getting some, oh, let's refresh this and just make sure. Let's get rid of this star and see if that helps that. Okay, good. So now we'll change it to Spanish. And as you can see, now Spanish is being loaded up. If we try Arabic, Arabic is now being loaded up. And if you go to the application, and I'm just going to open this up so we can see this better. If you open this up and you go to we can start with local storage. You can see that the language is now Arabic. So it's been put into the storage, which is allowing us to use it in the backend. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And now something that we can also do is change what's going on with this button. What's going to happen is when we click a button, we change the language, this button will reflect whatever the new language is. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to create a variable. We'll call it const, and I'll just call it lang title. And that's going to equal, we'll use ref so that it can be available to the template. And we'll do local storage get item. Okay, so that now we can get what's in the storage. And we'll say lang title. And if that's not available, we'll just make the default English. Let's import this ref. Oh, it already did it. Or it's in there. I don't know. Before all of this, now we can do local storage dot set item. So we're setting another item. And we'll set lang title to equal the item title. Because that's what these strings are, is the title, which is English, Spanish, Arabic. Now we can use this variable instead of that button text. I don't need the $sign. We'll give it a try. Now you see here, it's English, but I think it's just been cached because of the things we were doing. So let's try Spanish. Okay, so now it's been changed to Spanish. If we go ahead and refresh, okay, it's still in Spanish. And if now we go to Arabic, we'll refresh, and now it's Arabic. Why don't we also do the translations for these so they can be read in whatever the languages are? We'll head to our language files and we'll open these up. English will be English, English, Spanish, and then Arabic. I'm going to go ahead and translate these so that you don't have to watch me do it all over again, and I'll be right back. Great, now we have English, Spanish, and Arabic, which means that now here we can put these language strings here. Title, T for translation, and then down here we can do the same thing. Looks like that's in Arabic, that's in Spanish, that's in English. We go ahead and refresh. Our translations are still the same. But again, don't forget, these aren't dealing with the database. So if we did have posts and we inserted them into the database and we tried to spit them back out, we wouldn't be able to translate this like that. There are plenty of packages that have a lot of documentation on how to do things like that. For the purposes of our demo with using the basic language translations from Laravel, we've now covered it with Vue. If you want to do React, I haven't used React yet. Couldn't tell you how to do it. That's a question that I can't answer for you. Something that I did want to mention about this package too is that you could also pass in variables into these translations, which I didn't go over because we didn't have any of those variables, but it is something that you could do. So I want to just go and show you really quick where something like this. So if you wanted to use welcome name and then you wanted to grab the name from the translation file, then you would pass in the name like this. This is how you would do something like that. So there are properties that you can add into it, different methods that you can use as well, like trans and stuff like that. But as I said, for us, we didn't really need anything like this, but this is something that you could potentially do as well. If you're enjoying the content, please go ahead and click that like button, as it really does help out the channel. Here's a video YouTube thinks you'll like, and here's a playlist to follow along. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.